Hey, what's up, Math 8? This is Mr. Bainey, and we're going to take a look at lesson 6.4, analyzing graphs. The essential question is, how can you describe a relationship given a graph and sketch a graph given a description? So in this lesson, we're going to be looking at the behaviors of graphs, how to describe what's happening in a graph, and we're going to take a look at this first explore activity that says a roller coaster park is open from May to October each year. The graph shows the number of park visitors over its season. So you can see that this blue line is the graph, and it's kind of moving all over the place. So the graphs you're going to see in here could be curves, it could be straight lines, but it's going to be made up of a bunch of them. Okay, so part A says segment 1 shows that the attendance during the opening weeks of the park's season stayed constant. So think about what constant means. And in this first line right here, we know that the time is passing, but the number of visitors, it's staying the same. So every day in that month or so, they're getting the same number of people every day. So we're going to describe what happens in segment 2. So as I go through this, you can start to think about it before the answer actually comes up. You can also pause it as well. I'll let you know when a good time to pause is before I actually put up a solution. So in segment number 2, let's do it here in green. This segment means that that the number of visitors, what's happening, is increasing. Okay, it's going up. Okay, time is going by and the number of visitors is going up. So every day or whatever for that month, they're getting more and more people. Okay, part B says, based on the time frame, give a possible explanation for the change in attendance represented by segment 2. So what is happening, or we know what's happening, but why is this happening? Why is it going up here? Why did it stay constant here, and why is it going up here? And so there's a number of correct explanations we can come up with. So we can say something like, maybe the temperature gets better, right? So maybe it was colder and then it got a little warmer and people were okay with going out. Another reason is maybe school's out, right? Because it opens in May. So after school gets out, like say end of May or in June, they're going to get more people coming, more families, more kids. You could also think about price, or there's also a lot of different explanations you could come up with. Part C, which segments of the graph show decreasing attendance? So decreasing is when the number of visitors goes down, right? So as time is going by, it's going down. And we can give a possible explanation here. So it's going down for segment 4 and also for segment 5. Okay, because it's decreasing in those segments. So 4 and 5. But why? Why is it doing that? So a couple of explanations here. Since the season ends in October, you could maybe might be caused by maybe school is starting back up again, so less people are going, and also temperature. So almost the same reasons why it went up near the beginning. So maybe it got colder, people went back to school, things like that. Okay, for this next page, what I would like to have you do, and then you'll pause it, is to read these 3 different situations. So we have a situation for Grace, Jet, and Mike. They're studying 100 words total for a spelling bee. They study differently though. So you want to read these 3 and be able to figure out which one is Grace. Is it the first one, the second one, or the third one? A, B, or C. Which one is Jet and which one is Mike? So go ahead and also, I'm sorry, think about how you might describe their progress. I'm not actually going to fill out this part here, but you want to think about how you might describe it. And so If you have time, go ahead and do that. Okay, so please pause it right now, and you'll see the solutions pop up for both for all of Grace, Jet, and Mike. Okay, and here are the three solutions. Jet is graph A because it says that he learned how to spell the same number of words each day. So that's crucial there. That means that we have a constant rate of change, right? The graph A is the only graph that's linear. So linear means constant rate of change. Okay, Mike is graph B because it says he started by learning how to spell the same number of words each day, but then learn a greater number of words each day. So that's the first part of the graph is this green part right here, where he doesn't learn that much, but the same number each day. Okay, it's just a pretty much constant rate of change right there until he goes up here and learns a lot more. So you'll see it's a much steeper line. So that's Mike. And Grace started by learning how to spell many words. So that's why it's so steep right here. And then learns fewer and fewer each day after that. So that's why it's almost like a flat line, but it's still going up a little bit. So you want to think of how steep these lines are. It's going to describe sort of how fast it's changing and be able to describe that. And on this last page, 177, the last example, Mrs. Sutton provides free math tutoring to her students every day after school. No one comes to tutoring sessions during the first week of school. Over the next 2 weeks, use of the tutoring service gradually increases. So this first part, no one comes to tutoring during the first week. So that means 0 students at the beginning, and then through the whole first week, we got 0 students. So here's my line in red. Okay. Over the next 2 weeks, the use of the tutoring service gradually increases. So it gradually increases the number of students that go. So you can start to think about what that might look like. So in 3 weeks, 3 weeks is about this right here. So it's going to stop there. So this line could look something like this. Okay, almost like a curve. The reason why it's curved is that it's not a constant rate of change. It's going to start to gradually increase. That's the key word there, gradually increase. Gradually is like just little by little, it goes up and up. So that's why it's that curve. Part B says, Mrs. Sutton's students are told that they will have a math test at the end of the 5th week of school. How do you think this is going to affect the number of students who come to tutoring? So what do you think is the most logical explanation? That at 5 weeks, are we going to have more students go if they know a test is coming up? Are we going to have the same amount of students? Are we going to have less students? And those are the questions you want to ask yourself. So ideally, more students are going to show up. So I could draw a straight line or a curve, doesn't really matter. But you can say something like, I just graphed it on there from 3 to 5 weeks, but I could say more students will use the tutoring service. Okay. And then part C says, considering your answer to B, sketch a graph showing the number of students who might use the tutoring service over the first 6 weeks of school. Okay. So I sort of graphed it already in that part A, but in the first 6 weeks is right here at 6 weeks. So I know that in the first week that we don't have any students, and then in 3 weeks, we know that it's going to go up gradually. And then 5 weeks, we know that this thing might still go up 5 weeks. And then what's going to happen after the test? A number of things can happen. Maybe it depends on how the tutoring goes for everybody. But, I think realistically, maybe less students would go. Something like that. Less students means that decrease. That's why the line is going down. Okay, so just to summarize this lesson, looking at a graph, be able to look at the different parts of the graph and describe what is going on and have possible explanations for why it's doing that. And also, if you're given any descriptions, be able to sketch what that graph might look like. Does not need to be perfect, but you need to make sure you know if it's going to be linear, if it's increasing, that's going up, if it's decreasing, that's going down, or if it's going to stay constant. Constant is going straight across, staying the same. Okay, so I can tell you that from this graph, we have all those things happening. So we have constant is right here in the first week. We have increasing all the way from week 1 to week 5. That's all increasing. Now, I made this part linear. I mean, doesn't you could argue whether it's going to be linear or not. And then at the end, because it's after the test, it decreases, it goes down. Okay, that's going to do it for this lesson. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.